Okay, this video is part 3, referring to hypocrisy, and how in this video I'd like to help the young people, kids, know that it promotes holier than thou-ism. And someone might notice that I have a pyramid here, nice pyramid, and we've got the one who's holier than thou, and he's worked his way up, and people say, well, what's the problem with that? Well, what happens is here comes the little people. You know, we're the little people. We're not the high echelon or the high and lifted up ones who run run Egyptianity. We just work in Egypt. We're there to see what we can do and what would happen. And you say, well, what's the problem with holier than thou-ism? Well, first of all, research through the field of psychology, Cornell University specifically did a study demonstrating that we as people seem to under-evaluate, that is, underestimate the value of others, and have a tendency to overestimate the value of ourselves or overestimate our competency or our own skills. And that can be problematic because holier than thou-ism, in Egyptianity, you just have to figure out how to get up the pyramid. But it looks like Donald's not good at it. And let's see, this little guy can do it. No. And of course, we know Goofy. After all, he's tried so much, he just can't seem to get there. So what happens is very quickly you find out, well, how did that person get up there to the top if no one else seems to be able to do so? Well, remarkably, that's the fallacy of the entire thing in Egyptianity. Holier than thou-ism is quite a presumption. It seems to think that it's there when there's no one up there. Sorry, this monkey keeps coming into the screen here. Excuse me. That's comic relief for my grandbabies. And he just keeps coming in here. He's the mascot for the Darwinian survival of the fittest in social standards and social levels and all the things, the caste system where people come in and place themselves above others. And they really respect him so much that if you say something about him and tell people that he's not what Christ is all about, he will really get upset. And that's what starts. Let's see if we can get him to just stay away for a moment. Now, there we go. So you say, well, what's wrong with holier than thou-ism? Well, in the Bible, we find, here's a grizzly bear. See the bear? Everybody see the bear? Okay, kids. Then what it is it leads to gnashing and gnawing. These are not good words. They're vicious type words. And to help you remember it, just gag. So what happens is holier than thou-ism, which is promoted in religion, which is based upon hypocrisy, pretending that something's true. Actually, there's no actual status there. So now people begin to gnash and gnaw on these little kids here. There's people that started off so happy, and then they thought everything was great until they looked up and found out that someone was holier than thou. And then, of course, we have that other thing. This is called the flesh and blood. It's called holier than thou is based upon flesh and blood. If to help you with that, just remember fab, F-A-B, like in fabulous. These folks are so fabulous that if you don't go along with their religion, there's the monkey again, they then come out in flesh and blood warfare, will shoot you. And you thought it was no big deal, and all of a sudden it's just, and you say, well, what can we do? Here's gnashing, here's old gag, and here's fabulous, and he's out hurting these people. And these people came here thinking, well, this was the best thing to do. Shouldn't we have gotten involved? And and lift ourselves up? Well, no, that's the whole problem is. So you have the fabulous flesh and blood folks, and again, here's money, all this currency, and you bring it to the base of this silly pyramid, and you got gag here, gnashing and gnawing, and all this money, and then people are now ducking and hiding and trying to not get hurt, but they won't walk away from the pyramids. You know what I'm saying? They won't come out of Egypt. There's even people who teach that they've been baptized, for example, but yet they're still in Egypt. So then they say, well, I've been redeemed, but they're still in Egypt. They say, I am a Christian too, but they don't fellowship into the gospel. They follow the tenets and teachings of their religion. It's just a minute. He's getting in our way again. He keeps barging in on us. Let me move him back. So here's flesh and blood jihad. And you say, well, what's that's all came from the holier than thou-ism. Yes, because as soon as men begin to lift themselves up above others, all of this breaks out. So let's see what can be done. We now have gnashing and gnawing, flesh and blood jihad. We have this leader of the group. He's always here, and he's represented very well as the head of survival of the fittest. And if you don't make it up the pyramid, too bad. That's just the way it is. And so let's see what can we do about it. Well, here comes someone, and he's a good shepherd. See the little wooden figurine, and it's a little lamb on top. And he said he's the good shepherd. He's not the hireling. He doesn't let bad things happen to the sheep. He doesn't run away. Well, they took him, young people. Listen, kids, especially you very young people. They took him and they dragged him to the top of that hill. But they didn't know, by taking him up there and by crucifying him, that he was actually destroying this whole system of Egyptianity. And he was doing away with this monkey business of survival of the fittest. And he was running away this gnashing and gnawing. That's the bear running. He's running away. And it ended this flesh and blood jihad. And it ended these people having to pay all the time and never accruing. And what it ended doing is for you kids to know, is that everybody's now back on level ground. And this good shepherd came, and because he loved us and gave his life, they killed him, but they didn't know he was destroying sin, that word negative observation, in the flesh, because in Egyptianity there's always a negative observation. And here's how it ends up. What we have here, yes, very good. Goofy fell on the rock, the stone. But you notice the ground's level here at the foot of the cross. Let me show you kids. This is a cross, and you say, well, what's that large stone? Well, that was once a pyramid. Now it's been flattened out. There's no holier than thou-ism. Everyone looks up to the same person, and he's the one that God sent, and he's the one that loved us, and everyone grows here. You say, well, what about the pay? There is no pay here. Everything we have, he gives to us. He takes care of us. He provides for us. There's our warfare is spiritual. We don't engage in flesh and blood jihad. We don't try to climb up to be higher than others, and we don't monkey around with people's lives. And this environment is where people don't self-destruct, take our own lives because of social drama, which is based upon hypocrisy, which is based upon social currency that people are willing to pay and sell their souls. Judas, a character in the Bible who was a devil from the beginning, he was never a child of God. He took 30 pieces of silver and was glad to have it. And it's a big business out there, but young people, when it comes to understanding the difference, when people say, oh, religions are confusing, well, sure they are. They're designed to be. Someone admired how all the religions get together sometimes for something so sad or tragic, or let's say a terrible accident in a town takes place, and people all gather and people admire. Well, why don't these differences, whatever they are, why don't we just say what they are? They're things that promote and advocate, and they take the place of this person, and they take Christ out of the picture. They then lift themselves up and returns gnashing and gnawing and returns violence. And then here we are again at the survival of the fittest, and religions begin to compete and try to get more of the people to come over here to them, and it's all ruined again. And the truth is, Christ didn't come to do that. Christ came and offered himself and allowed those people, those religious people, to kill him, and he carried our sins, which were everything that we had become. And these religious people had nothing to do, it didn't want Jesus, and he won. So young people, live for the one who died for you. Learn and live. Don't live and learn, because you might not live to learn. Follow this one. Follow the Good Shepherd. He cares for the sheep. He gives up his life for them. He carries them, takes care of them, and that's the good news. Now, if you're in some type of religion, which all of us start there, usually find ourselves in the middle of it, and you say, well, I didn't know that. Well, if you're encouraged to lift yourself up above other people, you'll find people that will look down on you because they say you don't use the right Bible translation. And all you have to do is ask them, well, which one do they use, or how do they use the one they're touting? You'll find out they have no idea what they're talking about. They'll try to ridicule you over you made the wrong choice about the end of the world on the different positions. But when you tell them, instead of being part of that, you're prepared and are readying yourself for Christ's return by living your life as he empowered you to do so. And then you won't be out in an adversarial relationship with your government or with the science of today, and that's advanced and helps us and gives us good things, and bridges and roads and mathematics and physics and biology and chemistry and all these great and wonderful things we have. We won't be in a adversarial relationship with them, and you'll invite your friends to come out from religion, and you say, well, if we come out, where do we? Well, we come to him. These are called, this is what an assembly is, and the assemblies preach salvation by grace, teach that the grace is Jesus, a person, the truth is a person named Jesus, the love is a person named Jesus, our certainty, the hope, is a person named Jesus. So that's it. This is how to live, how to navigate, and what to do about holier than thou-ism, and those that would lift themselves up above others, is not do anything. Come out from it. Jesus has already done everything about it, and only he was sent to do something about it. And then he asked us to come out and follow him. So that's good wisdom, good words to live by, and it's a way to learn in order that you might live, and to live a life much more abundantly.